I'll just want to take advantage, sir, sorry, no, to add, because Noble Care is here. Who are the representatives of Noble Care? Yeah. Can you please, just for the record, again, state your names and your positions?
My name, sir, is J. Sangalang.
Jay. And Jay, what's your, Mr. Sangalang, what's your position in Noble Care?
I am a nominee, sir, of Attorney Oreta.
Okay.
Well, what happened to Mr. Garcia, your president?
Sir, I just received a text message at around 8:30 in the morning that he is suffering from a fever. So he would like to be excused in this hearing and he will submit a medical certificate.
And do you have with you your, is he an external auditor?
Yes, sir. As committed, we are with our
Can you please identify yourself, sir?
auditor to explain some of the questions that were asked during the last hearing.
Okay. So,
Can you please just identify first?
Yeah. Senator, I'm Dexter Fisalbon Ortega.
Yung Ortega, no? Okay. Sige, Senator Cayetano.
and Mr. Ortega, you're familiar with the dealings of the financial dealings of the Noble Care?
As far as I'm concerned, I am aware of the yun pong sa financial based on my engagement lang po.
Sige.
Sa kanya.
Kailan ka in-engage?
Last March 25.
Okay. So you don't have personal knowledge of the transactions before that. It's your knowledge is based on the examination of documents.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just take advantage, sirs, that you're all here because kung may anomaly dito makikita yung isang side nito, no? Vice Mayor, pwede niyo hulang ulitin just for clarity, no? Sinasabi niyo na ang unang gusto niyong deal is it 70-30 o 80-20?
80-20 po.
80% in for
Alparan.
and 20% for the Boy Scout.
Boy Scout.
Joint venture, no?
Joint venture,
Okay.
opo. Pero hindi po nangyari yung 80-20 dahil kinausap na nga po ako ni Mr. Limlingan. Ang sabi sa akin, pare, pumayag ka na dyan dahil 20 naman talaga yan eh. Kaya lang, itatabi natin yung 5% dahil pangkampanya yan ang boss natin. Na ang ibig sabihin na boss natin, si Mayor Binay po noon na ngayon ay Vice President na. At ang sabi po sa akin ni Mr. Limlingan at ni Atty. Oreta, sila na ang bahalang magtabi. Kaya nga ho sumulpot yung Noble Care. Dahil doon itatago yung 5% na dapat parte ni Vice President Binay. At ako naman po, Mr. Senator, Mr. Chairman, ako ho ay natutuwa. Dahil nagkakaroon po ng linaw yung aking testimony dito sa Senado base puro sa AMLAC report. Na lumalabas po talaga na merong in-advance na 100.4 million at mukhang tumutugma ho lahat yung petsa, Mr. Senator.
Oh, okay. Senator Cayetano, singit lang. Yung nasabi sa iyo na sa Noble Care papadaanin, yung mechanics, hindi mo na alam o alam mo?
Hindi ko na po alam.
Yung detalye kung paano gagawin.
Hindi ko po alam yung detalye dahil ang akin lang po namang sinigurado ng panahon na yon, siguraduhin na matatanggap ni Vice President yung 5% na pangkampanya niya noong panahon yon.
But from the very start, natanda mo na Noble Care yung nabanggit na bihikulo.
Opo.
Okay, sige po. Thank you. Senator Cayetano.
So, I just wanted to establish that, and let Mr. Ortega answer this first before I make my point. No, can we show the July 25 and August 8 deposit of Noble Care to their banks? No. Okay. Sir Ortega, do you confirm this? Yeah, you can come closer, please. Can borrow my glasses kung kailangan. Kung medyo malabo so that the public can also hear, no?
June 29.
In July 25, 2008, 100 million was deposited. And July 29, 231, 2008, 100 million was withdrawn. August 8, 2008, 100 million 30,000 was deposited, and August 8, 2008, it was withdrawn.
Mr. Senator, wala pa po akong nakikita or nabibigay na document sa akin patungkol dyan sa mga ganyang
Okay.
information.
Sige. So, I'll accept that answer because, kung wala talagang pinakita sa'yo, no? How about kay Mr. Sangalang? Do you have any knowledge regarding this?
Mr. Senator, I do not have any knowledge as regards those bank transactions.
Okay.
I can only confirm the transactions between Alpha Land and Noble Care.
Okay. And you confirmed that Mr. Ong Pin, when he was here, former Secretary Ong Pin said that binigyan niya ng 5% si Mr. Oreta because part ito ng compensation niya.
I think, Your Honor, compensation was not the term used by
Let's talk in layman's term. I know now you're being careful, but he did use it if we read it. But after Commissioner Kim Henares said that you're now liable for tax evasion, he's trying to clarify hindi compensation. But 5% was part of his payment, compensation, in very layman's term, no?
carried interest po.
Carried
ng
interest.
gamit.
Okay, carried interest, right? And this was given in terms of shares.
Yes.
Yes. And these shares, later on, Noble Care was also loaned 100 million pesos from Alpha Land.
That was mentioned
Yes.
during the last
And then
hearing.
on the birthday of Vice President Binay, the loan was condoned.
Actually, sir, I do not have any personal
Okay.
knowledge. Yes,
So,
as
the loan,
regards that.
ibig sabihin po, sinabi, okay na yan. No? Hindi na siningil yung 100 million nung birthday po ni Vice President. And the payment naman po, the 89 million worth of shares ng Silvertown na binigay daw sa Noble Care na carried interest ay kinonvert sa shares ng Alpha Land.
That is correct, sir,
That's
based on
correct.
the
Okay.
documents.
Pero nung hinahanap namin nasaan ng shares, nawawala. Ang sabi ni Mr. Ong Pin at Mr. Oreta, hindi nawawala, na sa Philippine Depository and Trust Corp.
I have no
Yeah.
knowledge
Well,
as to,
sige
but
po.
sir, if I may just explain, no? I think hindi po nawawala yan because we have the stock certificate.
Yes,
To that effect.
it was in the name of Noble Care, but suddenly pinasok sa Philippine Depository Trust Corp, no? At para dito sa mga nagsa-stocks, pag gumagamit ka ng broker, hindi mo usually pinapalagay sa name mo. Kung itre-trade mo to. Usually, nasa Philippine Depository and Trust Corp, ibig sabihin, nasa broker mo rin yon. Pero, kung you will keep it or nasa iyo na yon, nasa pangalan mo. Sa inyo, baliktad. Nasa pangalan nyo na, pinalipat nyo ng PDTC, no? And what we found out, through Channel 7 news report, it was in Regina Capital. Can you confirm that ang ginamit nyo na broker is Regina Capital?
I think it is.
Can you confirm that it was Regina Capital?
I'm not sure, sir, because
You do not know.
this is being handled by Alpha Land, not
Okay.
not by.
But it's your shares eh.
Yes, sir.
Binigay na sa inyo eh.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so bakit nyo ibabalik pa sa Alpha Land?
No, sir. I mean because these are shares in Alpha Land.
Yes, your shares in Alpha Land were already given to Noble Care.
That's correct,
And it
sir.
was already in the name of Noble Care, tapos nilipat sa PDTC.
Okay.
So, ang ginamit na broker, Regina Capital. Tama po ba?
I cannot.
You do not.
I
You
do
don't
not
have
have
personal knowledge.
personal knowledge.
Okay. Do you know who owns Regina Capital or who runs it?
No, sir.
Vic Limlingan. Do you know who Vic Limlingan is?
Well, I've been hearing about his name, sir, but I do not
Yes.
know him in personally.
That is the brother of Geraldo Limlingan, no? Yung sinasabing legitimate businessman, sinasabi ng spokesman ni Binay, but sinasabi naman ng mga nag-accuse ay legitimate bagman ni Binay. No. So, nakikita nyo na po ngayon mga kagalang-galang na miyembro ng National Board ng Boy Scouts, coincidence ba tong lahat? Coincidence ba na ang 5% ay shares na etong 100 million nagre-represent? Na pinautang ay isang kumpanya na to na 100 million and in one day, i-withdraw? You deposit 100 million, you withdraw it in cash the same day. And then afterwards, the shares, ipinagpalit mo naman dun sa isang kumpanya And then nawala naman sa kumpanya ni Mr. Oreta, napunta sa Regina Capital. Ngayon, nasa kanila ulit kasi iniimbestigahan natin. So, hawak nila yung certificate, no? But it wasn't in their name when we deposited it. So, if it wasn't in their name, that means it could have belonged to any person, including the Vice President. So, if you were sitting in... This is a rhetorical question now. I don't expect an answer, no, sir, because you have maintained your stand and we respect that, no? But if you were in this side of the table, no, of the investigation rather than there, no? And this is only one part of the investigation po, no? There are other parts of the investigation that shows. So, for example, yung bahay sa San Vice yung...
Sa Tagaytay ho.
But you were saying it's... Pag hinanap mo sa Tagaytay, hindi mo makikita
Nasa
because
Alfonso.
it's in Alfonso, Cavite, no? Sinasabi ni Vice President ay hindi na sa kanya, ay nasa isang construction company. Ang may-ari pala ng construction company ay si Mr. Oreta, no? So anyway, let me stop there, Mr. Chair. The point being is, at this point in time, no one can say na walang basis si Vice Mayor in saying may 5% kickback. Because it is not merely an allegation anymore. No? There is a paper trail, there is a string of evidence. No? I would accept if some people say we need to investigate further, hindi pa to conclusive. But wala na dito yung presumption of innocence because under the law, when you present evidence, the presumption of innocence can be overturned. Diba? Ibig sabihin, pag tinignan ko si Vice, inosente yan. Pero pag lumapit sa akin si Atty. Bundal, eto ebidensya ko laban kay Vice at matindi, nagsishift yung evidence ngayon. Kailangan patunayan ngayon si Vice na hindi totoo yung ebidensya. No? And that's where we are right now, Mr. Chairman, no, Mr. President. And I hope no, the Boy Scouts will do their own internal investigation and you are free to get the documents also from this. And lastly, Mr. Chair, before they go, no, we were promised that the Boy Scout will get a independent financial analyst, or I'm not sure about the name, no? What, Governor? Sorry.
Appraisal
yes.
company.
To review, no, the deal and everything because numbers are flying around, no. So we will expect that when may resulta na, no? So we can share.
May resulta na, Your
Yes.
Honor.
Okay.
The appraisal report by the Philippine Appraisal Company showed that the podium was worth 200,000 per square meter, and that was the basis of this 1.232 billion worth.
Yes.
This was already conveyed
But
to
my
us.
understanding, Governor, is that what we will have the analysts do is look also at how much the land was when the deal was made. Because when Senator Sergio Osmeña was here, no, the point was being made that upon the deal pa lang, no, nalugi na ng billion ang BSP. Then when it was converted to commercial, again, nag-gain na naman. No? So, I mean, not to go into that one by one, no? But actually the point I was going to, Mr. Chair, is that we should do the same with a respected or an independent financial analyst or appraiser, and then ibangga natin or i-compare natin yung findings natin, sir, for the benefit of the Boy Scout of the Philippines.
Meron nga po. Meron
Okay.
po nung appraisal.
Sige, then we'll give you a chance when Mr. Oreta and Mr. Ongpin is here to present it so that, will be fair to everyone, if that is acceptable to you, sir.
It's acceptable, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, nothing more from you. Sa Noble Care, do you want to make any more statements?
I have a question, Senator Cayetano. Fact yun, na-establish na natin yung 100 million loan, right? That you admit that from...
Yes, sir, based on the records.
Who is your creditor? You are the debtor, eh? Noble Care. Who is the creditor sa 100 million?
I think it's Alpha Land, sir.
You don't know?
It's Alpha Land.
It's Alpha Land.
Yes, sir.
The mother corporation, Alpha Land.
Well, yes, sir. It's Alpha Land Corporation.
Okay, Alpha Land Corporation, 100 million loan. And it was condoned. That's a fact.
I cannot. It's condonation, sir, is quite.
I'll use your own words. What happened to the 100 million loan?
There was an offsetting.
Offsetting
because instead of receiving this 188 million, what was given was a mere 88 million shares, or 8.8 million shares, I'm sorry. So the 100 million was deducted from the shares to be received by Mr. Oreta. So there was no condonation, sir. That is just my appreciation of the document.
You explain again the transaction. Okay, you borrowed 100 million, Noble Care.
Yes, it was advanced by Alpha Land.
It was a loan. Loan.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So clear. Oh.
Yes, sir.
And then what happened to the loan?
Well, it was paid
By Noble Care.
by Noble Care by means of receiving, instead of 188 million shares, what Noble Care received for Attorney Oreta is only 88 million shares, not 188 million. Meaning the 100 million was deducted.
You were paying by receiving.
Offsetting, sir. That is my appreciation of the documents. Although I was not privy to this transaction, based on the documents that we have, it appears that it
So
was
in effect,
offset.
you were paid 100 million cash and 88 million shares.
Yes, sir.
In effect, kung isuma total natin.
Yes, sir.
More or less, di ba?
Tama po.
And for what? Why? Why were you paid by Alpha Land 100 million pesos and 88 million shares? Why?
Because that is the carried interest of Mr. Oreta.
But
from
not
the
by
project.
Noble Care.
Yes, sir.
So by Mr. Oreta.
Yes, sir. But it was these shares were transferred to Noble Care instead of to
No,
Attorney
directly.
Oreta.
Alpha Land to Noble Care. Not Alpha Land to Mr. Oreta, then Mr. Oreta to Noble Care.
That is correct, sir.
That's correct, di ba? So it is as if it is Alpha Land which has a transaction with Noble Care or an obligation to Noble Care. Although you know that was the agreement with Mr. Oreta.
Yes, sir.
Tama, di ba?
Tama po.
Sir Sangalang,
Yes.
in this transaction that you're talking about, did Alpha Land lie?
I cannot answer that, Your Honor, because
You were here. You heard Mr. Ongpin, di ba? You heard all of their statements. Di ba? I thought you have the same story. Akala ko ang Alpha Land at ang Noble Care pareho storya. Iba ba storya yung dalawa?
well, I don't think so, sir. They should
Kung
be the
pareho
same.
storya nyo, so if you're not lying, they're also not lying. Tama po ba?
Well, yes, sir. We were just relying on the documents.
Okay, so my next question is, are you or Noble Care lying to this committee?
We will not lie, sir.
Because that is contemptuous, you know that. No?
I understand, sir.
Okay. So tell me now why you are lying. Because you are lying to us right now. I'll give you that chance to tell us why we're lying. I'll give you that opportunity as a gentleman.
Sir, what I have mentioned earlier is my appreciation of the documents.
Okay. Does Noble Care lie in your financial statements? That is required under law and under oath ba yan? Mr. Ortega, are financial statements required under oath? I'm not an accountant, so I don't know.
On the financial statements, we have a statement of management's responsibility that yung under oath is yung document po, may responsibilidad po ang management, kung tama po ang pagkakaintindi ko, may responsibilidad po ang management sa financial statements ng company.
Okay. So anyway, Mr. Sangalang, does Noble Care lie in its financial statement?
I would not know, sir, because these documents were prepared by the previous auditor, sir.
Okay. Do you know Okay. Alpha Land has a disclosure to PSE, Philippine Stock Exchange, because they were a publicly listed company. No, nagpa-delist sila. Sinabi nila doon, loan eh. Tapos dinelist nila. So, sino ngayon sa inyo nagsisinungaling? Kayo na nagsasabing hindi loan? O Alpha Land na nagbigay sa inyo ng pera at sinasabi nila na loan yun? Kasi, iko-contempt namin isa sa inyong dalawa dito. Dahil kayo ang magka-deal Kayo magkasama dito, sinasabi nyo, carried interest, para maintindihan natin mga kababayan, ang ibig sabihin ng carried interest, in layman's term dito, commission. Yun po ang commission or compensation, dagdag na kita ni Mr. Oreta dahil siya nakapag-put together nung deal, no? So, Mr. Sangalang, who is lying?
Sir, we're just basing our answers on the documents.
You want me to show you the disclosure of PSE? Then from there, you can say that Alpha Land is lying. Alpha Land has a statement that utang yon. You're saying, no, sa records ng Noble Care, hindi utang yon. The one of the two of you are lying, hindi ba? Kung ako sabihin kung ininom ko yung kape, sinasabi niyang hindi ko ininom ang kape, hindi naman pwedeng pareho kaming tama, hindi po ba?
Sir, based on the documents.
Of Noble Care. But based on the documents of Alpha Land, they said they condoned and it's a loan. They booked it as a loan.
Your Honor, I think even the documents that we have, which is the Memorandum of Agreement, dated 11 November 2010, states here that it's a loan, sir.
Yes, but that's not what they declared in the Philippine Stock Exchange. That's not what Alpha Land declared. So you're saying tama kayo, hindi siya loan, and nagsisinungaling ang Alpha Land. Well, you're not representing Alpha Land here.
I cannot answer for Alpha Land, sir.
You're not answering for Alpha Land. You're answering for Noble Care.
That's correct,
If
sir.
Alpha Land declared to the PSE that this is a loan, is it true or is it false?
I wanna see it, sir, probably. If this...
Sir Sangalang, kaya nga if eh.
Yes, sir.
Kasi pahahanapin mo pa sa akin, medyo valuable yung ano natin eh.
Sir,
You're saying as a matter of fact, in the documents na hawak nyo, it is not a loan. So I'm telling you,
sir,
if it is a loan na binook, kung yun ang pag-book ng Alpha Land or yun ang kanilang disclosure sa PSE, would they be wrong in booking it as a loan?
sir, I made mention of a loan, sir, earlier.
I'm talking about the 100 million. Sabi mo hindi loan yun. Sabi mo part nung 8,800 payment yon.
Sir, I think we're just...
So
mixed
meron ba
up with
kayong
this
100 million loan o wala?
Meron po, sir, based on the documents.
Pero sabi mo, it is part of the compensation kasama sa 88, so hindi siya loan.
Sir, I think the 100 million that is being asked is about the advanced amount, which is also part and parcel, sir, of the carried interest. Which
If it is an advance amount, it is not a loan. Hindi ba? Ang loan utang, kailangan bayaran. Ang advance sa carried interest, sa'yo yun dahil commission mo yun eh. Di ba? Huwag natin lituhin ng publiko. What is the 100 million? Is it part of the carried interest or is it a loan?
Sir, it is a loan, sir.
Okay. Did you book it in your FS as a loan?
I think
It
that
is
has
not.
to be answered by the accountant, sir.
Okay, let's have him answer it. Mr. Ortega, is it booked as a loan?
I'll just verify that.
Do you want me to give you your FS? Hawak ko na eh. Wala eh.
Wala pong nakalagay.
Okay. So, sino sa inyong dalawa ni Mr. Sangalang ang nagsisinungaling? Hindi naman siguro ikaw dahil sa you're just doing it based on the papers, di ba? And pareho siguro tayo ng hawak. O, Mr. Sangalang. So, Noble Care is lying sa SEC by not declaring its financial statements na loan siya.
Sir, I don't want to conclude that Noble Care is lying.
You said it's a loan.
Yes, sir.
Pagdating sa FS nyo, hindi nyo dineclare na loan. So, hindi kasi sinungalingan yon.
Sir, it could have been an error on the part of our previous accountant. That's
100 million peso, no activity ang company, error.
Well, sir, that is just my appreciation
Okay.
of the records.
Mr.
consider-
Sangalang, don't get me wrong. No, I appreciate you being here. It should be Mr. Oreta answering these questions. It should be your president, no, Mr. Garcia and Mr. Oreta. So I don't want to sound as if the committee is they call this is scolding you personally. But I think you would understand why we feel this way, because the documents. Kaya nga tayo meron ito. Kaya nga meron ng just finish the point, Mr. Chair. Kaya nga, yung sinabi ni Mr. Ortega, meron responsibilidad yung management na tignan. Diba? And Mr. Oreta tells us that he is not only a businessman, He's a very good businessman. He's so good a businessman that in a multi-billion peso deal, he deserves 5%. Pero his management team cannot even look at the FS and say na, oy, ba't wala yung 100 million loan? Na yun lang naman ang activity nila during that year, no? So that's what I'm trying to show the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. No? And lastly, Mr. Chair, then I'll turn over to you, no? Oh, go ahead.
I just interject something because it's very relevant to your line of questioning. I will quote the TSN of May 5, 2015, Mr. Garcia. But we don't have any transaction. So basically, I'm just there as president, but we don't have any activities. Oh, and then 100 million loan, you miss? You miss it? Actually, tatanong ko pa nga, if you don't have any activities, why do you need to borrow 100 million?
I think, sir, if I can remember it right, the answer given by Mr. Garcia during that time, I think it was because he was elected as the president only in 2011. So that was the reason probably why he made mention of
No, but the characterization of the company as not having activities. Are you very busy as a company?
not that
Precisely.
active, sir.
Precisely nga. Yan na nga. And then you have, is 100 million a big amount or a small amount?
It's a big amount,
It's a
sir.
big amount.
My
And then
understanding, sir, it's a big amount.
You have one activity where you are extended a loan of 100 million pesos and you fail to book it. And ang logical question nga is, why does your company need to borrow 100 million pesos if you have no planned activities?
No, sir. I think the purpose of the company for incorporation is for construction and development of real properties intended for retirees. So I think if we will value these 100 million, that amount will not be too huge or too big for the operations or in furtherance of its
So
operations.
you're busy. You're busy. You have activities. And yet your president testifies that we don't have any transaction. Tas inulit pa niya, we don't have any activities. And now you're claiming you're a busy company.
No, sir.
100 million is part of your operations.
I think it was for in furtherance of the operations of the company.
That's a very busy corporation. We have 100 million. So what are you? What is Noble Care? Busy or not busy?
It is a company which has on and off operations. It's not busy, sir.
Okay, we need to. I think you tell Mr. Garcia we need to confront him with these earlier statements because you're now contradicting your president. But actually, you don't have a hand in running your corporation, right?
That is correct, sir.
That's correct, right? But the president who should have a hand in running the corporation says you're not busy, and you who does not have a hand say that it's quite busy.
I did not say that it's quite busy,
What
sir.
did you say?
It is a company which has intermittent operations. Its
On and
operations
off.
are on and off.
Okay. Sige. Senator Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Sangalang, just to finish my points, that's why I asked you why are you lying, to give you an opportunity. Sabi mo, 8,800 shares kasi ang binayad.
8 million
8 million,
shares, sir.
8 million shares,
That is
no?
correct, sir.
At what value? Magkano binalyo nyo nung binigay? Di ba 10 pesos?
I'm not sure, but I think it was mentioned that it was
And
valued
di ba
at 10 pesos.
undervalued nun yun? Because that's 5% of Silvertown. No? And 5% of what Silvertown represents was in the billions. Di ba? That was already proven in the last committee. So, wag nyo sasabihin na 8 million shares lang kasi, sir. Kaya, bukod sa 8 million shares, may 100 million. Kasi even without the 100 million, yung 8 million shares, ang laki na nun eh. Covered na yung 5% ni Mr. Oreta. Lastly po, nandito po yung disclosure kung gusto yung basahin. Simultaneously, with the issuance of alpha shares, ADI shall cancel outstanding obligation of Noble Care in the amount of 100.4 million, the loan. Loan naman ho, malinaw tayo dyan, ha? Hindi advance yan, hindi carried interest, no? In consideration thereof, Noble Care will convey to ADI 2,031 common shares or 5.88% of Alpha Land Makati Place, P. Okay. So malinaw yan at kita nyo na. May I ask you, Mr. Sangalang, no? Sino ho presidente ng Noble Care during that time?
I think, sir, the president at that time is Mr. Oreta.
Correct. Who was the president of Silvertown during that time?
I'm not sure, sir. Because
It was Mr. Oreta. Who was the president of Alpha Land during that time?
I think it's Mr. Oreta also, sir.
Very good. So, presidente ka ng Alpha Land, presidente ka ng Silvertown, presidente ka ng Noble Care, nagpapaikot ka ng hundreds of millions at shares, tapos sa tatlong declaration nyo, iba-iba kayo ng declaration, and you expect us to believe that it was an error. No? In the meantime, tumutugma sa storya ni Vice Mayor na meron naging 5% na bigayan dito. No? So, of course, your company is free to contest that and everything, but very clear dito, hindi nyo mapaliwanag na saan yung pera. And if the committee didn't look into it, it was already with Regina Capital. The money could have been going out already. It could have been sold. It could be put the name of a different client. Who was your accountant during that time?
Ligaya Rempilio, yes, sir.
Okay, we will call him. I request, Mr. Chair, that we call him because sisirain mo ang karir niya kung sasabihin mong siya may error na loan tapos sasabihin niyang hindi loan. So we'll either tell the truth here and you will be in trouble or sisirain niyo ang karir niya because isang transaction ng kumpanya na yon, mamimiss pa. Anong klaseng accountant yon? Yeah. So
Sir,
do you want us to call him here or do you want to clarify your answer?
Sir, we can do that just to give clarification on this
Okay.
past FS. But
Well,
I believe, sir,
we have to get to the truth, and we're hoping that everyone will be present here. The spokesman of the Vice President just said that we're waiting for the Guinness Book of World Records bago kami matapos. But although I find it funny, and sometimes I also use that joke, the truth is we're waiting for Ebeng Baloloy, we're waiting for Mr. Limlingan, we're waiting for the Vice President, we're waiting for Mr. Oreta, we're waiting for Secretary Ongpin, all of those who are relevant here, pero nag-TNT. Nagtatago hindi nagpapakita dito, no? So, that is our problem, Mr. Sangalang. So, but if you'd prefer that he comes here rather than you answer the question, I know he's a private citizen, accountants, no, are professionals, but kung ganyan mangyayari na you're gonna say it's an error at siya ang may kasalanan, no, then we have no choice but to call him.
We get the name, Senator Cayetano. What's the name again you mentioned? The accountant?
Ligaya Rempilio, Your Honor.
Ligaya E. Rempilio.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And lastly, Mr. Ortega, there is a certificate there that the management reviewed the financial statement and that they found it to be correct?
Yes, there is a statement of management's responsibility.
And who signed that?
It was signed by the Mr. Jose Francisco Oreta
Okay.
and Mr. Ireneo.
Is that the same Mr. Oreta?
I actually don't know and recognize
Mr.
this.
Sangalang, is that the same Mr. Babes Oreta?
No, sir.
Who is that Mr. Oreta there?
Jose Francisco Oreta, sir.
Related to him or not?
He's the son, sir.
The son. So, we will also call them here because they certified na tama. They certified na tama yung sinabi ng accountant. So, you cannot blame the accountant because that means their management reviewed it and agreed that it wasn't a loan. Because you refused to admit that you lied on your FS. So if you didn't lie, ibig sabihin tama. But I get your point, pwedeng error. But how can there be an error when you have a professional accountant, you don't have much activity, and then the management certified na tama yung sinamit? No?
Sir, if I may just...
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Sir, actually, that's the reason why we engage the services of an independent auditor to do the auditing and review of our records.
That's right. Kung mali yung accountant nyo, Eh kung mali yung anak ni Mr. Oreta, pinare-review din niyo yung mga boss niyo? Ang pinare-review niyo lang yung gawa ng accountant niyo. Pero sinertify eh. Siguro naman kung manager ka ng malaking kumpanya, alam mo ang diferensya ng loan at diferensya ng bayad sa inyo. You don't need an accountant to know that. But anyway, Mr. President, I made my point, and I feel bad, Mr. Sangalang, that you were the one put on the hot seat, but your officers are not attending. So please get them to attend so that they can answer and they have the personal knowledge. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chair, and I hope that the BSP is really taking note of what's happening here. Now, these are the people you're dealing with.
Actually, we're asking the questions to benefit the BSP. If you are interested in the issue, that's a big if you are interested. Mr. Sangalang, your president, Mr. Garcia, mentioned that you had an auditor who has already died. Is that the Rimpillo that you mentioned?
Yes, sir. That was the information that we got.
So we are putting the blame on a deceased person?
No, sir. Actually, that was just my impression. It could have been an error.
Kaya nga.
Mr. President,
yes,
yun ang nakakalungkot sa ating bansa. Talagang yung kung sinong wala na sa mundong ito, yun ang napagbibintangan eh. No? Kaya, so ko siguraduhin, bago ako mawala sa mundo ito, ayos lahat eh. Baka ako mapagbintangan din. Pero, let's call the officers who certified that tama yung binigay sa kanila so that we can get to the bottom of this. But I know, Mr. President, we have a very, very full agenda, so let me stop there.
How about the present auditor? What is the extent of the help or assistance that you can render as the new auditor?
Mr. Senator,
Can you go over? Can you go all the way back to 2008?
Senator, as the external auditor of the 2014 financial statements, we are bound to check also the reasonableness of the balances, of the beginning balances. So I believe that we can review the previous financial.
Just try your best, because we cannot already call Ms. Rimpillo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so maybe that would.
Maybe you can excuse Noble Care and BSP and hope that next time, before the people from the Guinness Book of World Record come here, the members of Alpha Land and Noble Land will actually attend. No? Noble Care.
Before we let you go, just one more question to the source of our information of the 5%, former Vice Mayor Mercado. Magkano ba yung 5% na pinag-uusapan dyan? Kasi you cannot just agree 20% sa Boy Scouts pero walang amount, 20% na pinag-uusapan.
Basta ang pinag-uusapan po, sir, sa 15% sa total nakabuang magiging saleable doon sa itatayong project.
Kaya nga,
sa lupa ng Boy
nung
Scout.
panahon na nag-uusapan ang percentage kasi, mga kababayan, pag sinabi mo percentage of something, you had no idea what that something is?
Kasi sir, ganito ho ang nangyari. Noon humpirmahan yung joint venture, wala pa hong master development plan. Yun nga ho ang kulang dun eh. Kaya nga ho, ang kapalit po nun para maproteksyonan yung share ng Boy Scout, magkakaroon po ng Joint Construction Committee na dapat po, nung napirmahan na, matatapos yung master development plan, ma-identify na po ngayon kung alin yung 5% at 15%.
Oo nga, okay. Sa kwento mo kasi merong nag-i-expect ng 5%.
Opo.
O di paano niya malalaman kung magkano yung ini-expect niyang halaga kung wala palang halagang pinag-uusapan? Walang suma total na pinag-uusapan?
Wala pa po that time kasi wala pa hong kabuang plano, sir. Wala pa hong kabuang plano yung itatayo dun sa lupa ng Boy Scout para ma-determine kung magkano aabutin ng 5% at kung magkano ang aabutin ho ng 15%. Ang hindi na lang ho nasubaybayan, dahil nga ako ho nawala na at nagkahiwalay ho kami ni Vice President Binay, hindi ko na ho nakita yung Master Development Plan, Your Honor, para makwenta natin yung 5%.
To qualify, 5% of what? Of the gross?
Sa kabuuan ho, sa gross.
Sa kabuuan?
Opo.
Or sa kikitain?
Sa kikitain po, sa kabuuan
okay.
po ng...
So after the whole project, kung sabihin kumita ng 1 billion, 80% goes to 85% goes to Alphalan, 15% goes to Boy Scout. But dun sa 85% ng Boy Scout, which is 850 Alphalan, 850 million if it's 1 billion, yung 50 million doon kay Vice President. If
Hindi
it goes
po-
to 5 billion,
hindi
the
po
5%. Paano po? Paano po?
Ang pinaka-share po ng Boy Scout ay yung aming lupa. Kaya ho kami makikinabang ng 15% sa kabuuang project na itatayo. Kaya nga ho ngayon, nakukuwenta na yung 3 billion dahil kasi ho may kabuuan ng plano eh. At makukuwenta na rin ho sa kabuuan na yon, nung dinideclare ni Mr. Oreta na ang worth ng project ngayon, yung value ng project together with the land, isinasabi niya na 21 billion. So, doon sa 21 billion, doon ho kinukuha yung 15% ng Boy Scout. At doon din ho kukunin yung 15% ni Vice President Binay. Yung 5% ni Vice President Binay.
At manggagaling yun sa 85 ng Alphaland.
Opo.
Kasi hindi niya mailalabas kung yung 20. Kung binigay ng 20 sa Boy Scout, malalaman ng board kung may kumuha ng 5.
Hindi po makukuha
Kaya
sa Boy
doon yung
Scout.
sinuma yung...
Kaya doon ho inilagay sa Noble Care.
Doon sa Alphaland muna.
Sa Alphaland
And
muna.
yung Alphaland, ang inyong allegation o suspetsa, ginamit nga si Mr. Oreta at Noble Care para mailabas yung 5%.
Yung 5%, opo.
Kasi listed company at that time
Opo.
ang Alphaland, hindi rin basta mailalabas yung...
Tama po.
Yung pera.
Tama po.
Okay. Anyway, Mr. Chair, no, we will also engage some experts on this, no, and go through the documents. But since we have a full...
Okay, my commitment to the Boy Scouts. No, we will try our best to hold maybe just sana one more hearing, no, with the presence of Mr. Ongpin, Attorney Oreta, and then Senator Osmeña will also join us, and Mr. Garcia, para finally, and of course, if Mr. Limlingan can be found, Mr. Limlingan, because merong nga allegation that he also acted as a bridge or participated in the meeting. So,
Mr.
one
Chair,
more.
Maybe also at that point also invite Mr. Vic Limlingan and the officers of Regina Capital, no, so that masundan natin yung stocks, no.
Okay, so pero best effort because we need the cooperation of everybody. When Attorney Ponferrada was here, he was so confident and he was so believable that they would cooperate. But they're not here. Even the lawyer is not here. Okay, so thank you very much, Boy Scouts. Yes, Mr. Wait a minute, Mr. Sangalang. Yes.
Sir, can I just make it of record that in view of the subpoena duces tecum issued by this honorable committee, we are submitting copies of these documents to this honorable committee.
Those listed in the subpoena, kompleto na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you just...
And Mr. Chair, may we also put it on record that any document or any testimony that you want to produce to show that the allegations against you are false, we will accept. So it is not just us asking the questions here. You want to make a presentation, you have this evidence. But given what we have, no, this is what we see. That's why we're asking you the hard questions. But meet with your officers and you're free to present your defense here.
Or a
Thank you.
position paper, memorandum, clarifying our misapprehension of facts or stating your position. Welcome. That would be welcome.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Okay, so thank you, Boy Scouts. Thank you to my mayor, Del de Guzman. Noble Care, thank you. Let's have a minute suspension.